OpenAI has just introduced their very first AI agent, and it's truly a game changer. This product sets a new standard for the future, paving the way for countless AI agents to handle various tasks seamlessly in the background. Imagine a world where these agents manage the tedious stuff, leaving us free to focus on more meaningful, productive work. It's clear this innovation is going to transform the way we live and work. What's even more exciting is that there are several details about this launch that many people might have overlooked. So, let's dive into the first demo.
So this is the operator homepage. It lives at operator.chatgpt.com. It'll be accessible as soon as the live stream is over. And as you can see, the interface is very similar to ChatGPT. You can type in a prompt and an operator will try to execute the task to the best of its capability. You'll also see we have a list of pre-filled prompts here. These are not really meant to be recommendations. These are meant to be things that, to give you an idea of what operator can do. We have also collaborated with various brands like OpenTable, AllRecipes, StubHub, Uber, Thumbtack, DoorDash, eBay, Target, to make sure operator really works well on these websites, but also we think users will find operator very valuable in interacting with these platforms. So with that, let's jump in with a demo. Okay, so I'm gonna start with something fairly simple. I'm gonna use OpenTable and say, book me a table for 2 at Beretta tonight at 7 p.m. Okay.
And so you specifically chose OpenTable.
Yeah, in this case, I'm asking operator to use OpenTable to book a table for 2 at Beretta. Beretta is a restaurant in San Francisco. It's great, you should try it out. And at 7 p.m. And I'm using OpenTable in this case, but I could have easily said, just do Beretta, and it would have probably gone to search engine, figured out how to make a reservation as well, but let's see what it does.
So can you explain what's happening in this?
Yeah, right. So I'm gonna expand this a little bit. So as soon as I typed in the query, operator instantiated a completely remote browser. This browser is running in the cloud somewhere, and as you can see, it's already up and running. And my hands are off the keyboard. I'm not typing these things.
So this is just the AI's clicking around.
Yeah, it's just clicking around. It started this browser session. It knew where OpenTable website is, which is opentable.com. As you can see, it's summarized chain of thought here as well, which is it's gone to the URL, searched for Beretta, and something cool really happened, which is for some reason, OpenTable thought we were in Virginia, and it auto-corrected itself to San Francisco. This is using, so like ChatGPT, in Operator, you can also give custom instructions. So I'm going to show this really quickly here. Okay. So I've given a custom instruction that for queries that need it, I live in San Francisco. So Operator recognized that and then auto-corrected itself to go to Beretta. Okay, looks like 7 p.m. isn't available, but you know what? 7:45 is just fine. So we're gonna go do that. So in this case, operator came back, and this is a really good example of task delegation where operator needs help or needs assistance or just wants to ask you something. It'll just come back and answer that query.
So in practice, you wouldn't have had to watch this. You could have just let it go off while you're doing other things, then it would come back and say, hey, I can't do 7:45.
Totally.
Yeah. Great.
And we're starting with a web app. You'll get notifications, etc. When operator moves into mobile, you'll get mobile notifications, much like interactions we do with general apps. Okay, yes, that's great. Let's do it. Okay, so again, very simple interaction as you would have with an assistant, which is, hey, I found a reservation, 7 p.m. wasn't available, let's do 7:45. And again, you can see operator at this point has said, okay, should I? Again, this is a really good example of the confirmations work we're going to talk about a little bit later, but before doing an action, which is sort of irreversible in this case, you can cancel the reservation, obviously, but again, taking a critical action, operator is asking us before actually doing it. And in this case, I'm going to say, let's do it. Okay, it was pretty quick. I would say 50 seconds.
We got our first look at OpenAI's operator agent in action. What's fascinating about the operator agent is that it's fully autonomous. You can assign it a task, and you don't need to keep an eye on it through your web browser while it works. This is a game changer because, in the future, the most practical agents will be the ones you can set loose on a task while focusing on something else. That kind of hands-off functionality is where the real value lies. One thing I noticed is that the agent occasionally pauses to ask for additional permissions at certain checkpoints. That's a great feature for maintaining control, but I think it's only a matter of time before these models can independently decide how much autonomy they should have based on your preferences. Now, let's dive into what happens if you need to step in and stop the operator in the middle of a task. Why is this important, and what's the best way to handle it? Let's take a closer look.
At this point, and I'm going to just click this button called Take Control. So this remote, as we were talking about, like operator fires up this remote browser to do it. We almost think of it as surface area where operator can work and then I can work. For example, in this case, I took over control from operator, which is also key to sort of how we think about user and user controls. Like at any point in time, a user should be able to take control and give operator instructions or tell a little bit more, guide a little bit more, etc.
It's like passing the laptop back and forth, just like you did with Ray.
Totally, exactly right. Just like, in this case, I'm gonna make those two, and then I'm just gonna tell operator. This is again, like very much like if you and I were working, I'd be like, hey, I did this, can you fix this? And I'm gonna tell operator, I added another egg, good to place order now.
Can operators see what you're doing during takeover mode?
Great point. So when you take over, it's very much just like a session with your local browser. It's completely private, operator cannot see. And this is one of the part of the reasons why I have to tell operator, or you don't really have to, it can look at the last screenshot and try to guess it, but it's really good. It's sort of like if you and I were working together, I went off and did something and I come back like, Ray, I completely messed it up. Can you fix this? Gonna have to tell you that. So in this case, I'm gonna tell operator, hey, go ahead. And now I'm passing back the control to operator. It's a completely private session when you take over control. This is you'll notice that I'm logged into Instacart here. I did it before the demo, or it has been logged in for a while now. And it's again, very much like your local browser. When you log into Instacart, until the cookies are cleared, you stay logged in, and we have really good controls. You can go in settings and control and remove at any point in time.
Now, let's dive into how the operator agent actually works. What's fascinating is that most people don't realize this agent functions almost like a human. It observes the screen, analyzes the pixels, and then decides what to do next. It figures out where to click and what action to take based on the ultimate goal and the steps it has already completed. Why is this so important? Well, it shows that this type of tool has the potential to handle a wide variety of tasks in the future. Right now, we're seeing it perform relatively simple tasks in a browser, but as the model improves and becomes more reliable, it'll be capable of managing increasingly complex operations. This evolution is going to be a game changer.
Operator, let me talk a little about the research behind it. So Operator is based on a new model we've trained at OpenAI, which we're calling the Computer Using Agent, or CUA for short. So CUA is a model built off of GPT-4o, but it's also trained to use and control a computer in the same way that humans can by just looking at the screen and using a mouse and keyboard to control it. Before, if you wanted to build something like Operator without CUA, you'd need to use some specialized APIs. For example, if you wanted your model to buy stuff from Instacart, you'd need to figure out if Instacart had an API. You'd need to figure out if that API had all the functions that it needed, and you need to give your model the specs to that API. But if your site, like most other websites, did not have an API, then you're out of luck.
So this is just using screenshots, no API, nothing, just
no
working.
No API, yes. And that's where CUA comes in. By teaching a model how to use the same basic interface that we use on a daily basis, it just unlocks a whole new range of software that it can use that was previously inaccessible.
And so this is keyboard and mouse, right? It's kind of using keyboard and mouse just
exactly.
like human would.
Yes, and that's really what the CUA research project is about. It's about removing one more bottleneck in our path towards AGI.
So, as you can see, they just talked about one of the big challenges in reaching AGI and how they're working to overcome it. Now, this system is already pretty good at browsing the internet, but it's still not on par with humans yet. You might be wondering, what does that mean for me? How secure is my job if AI keeps improving? How does it stack up against the average person when it comes to using a computer? Well, they actually ran a benchmark test where they compared the performance of the AI operator to humans. The results are fascinating because they show exactly how humans currently measure up against these models. What's even more exciting is thinking about how these benchmarks might evolve over time. These models are improving so quickly, and it's going to be really interesting to see just how far they can go.
That said, we can look at a few benchmarks and kind of quantify how good Operator is right now. So one of the first benchmarks that we're going to look at is called OS World. OS World is an eval that measures how well AI agents navigate common operating systems like Linux. On this task, CUA gets a 38.1% score, which is higher than other publicly published results. Human performance in this task is 72.4%, so we still have room to grow, definitely. The other eval we'll take a look at is called Web Arena. Web Arena is an eval that measures how well AI agents navigate some common websites like e-commerce websites or social forum websites. So on this task, CUA gets 58.1%, again, higher than other publicly published results, but still falls short of human performance. One
Still
thing,
a way to go.
Still a way to go, yes. One thing that's important to remember about Web Arena is that even though it's the web, we're still just giving it the same universal interface of screen, mouse, and keyboard. We're not giving it any extra information that might help it do the task, like the raw text of the web page or information about which buttons are clickable, and all the information it needs, just like humans, is just in the screenshot.
Another important aspect they need to focus on is safety. Using an AI agent opens up a wide range of possibilities, but it also introduces risks and security concerns. Imagine having an AI agent, or even multiple AI agents, handling various tasks online. Without proper controls, they could potentially cross boundaries, engage in borderline illegal activities, harassment, or other actions they're simply not supposed to do. To address this, they've developed a framework designed to keep AI agents in check. This framework ensures that the AI stays aligned with its intended purpose, avoids mistakes, and, most importantly, safeguards your personal information. It also prevents the AI from doing anything that could compromise your security.
Yeah, so I think we're all very excited about this vision of Operator doing your chores for you, but it is one of the first agents that we're putting out in the world and which has real-world side effects. And so we thought carefully about how to deploy this safely. The framework we used to think about this was one centered around, so for example, what if the user is misaligned? So maybe they're asking for a harmful task, like buy a weapon or something like that. In that case, fortunately, we've done a lot of work with ChatGPT to bring over a lot of the same mitigations. So for example, we refuse harmful tasks, including harmful agentic tasks. We have moderation models, we have post hoc detection, we have blocked websites. And I'm kind of rattling off these mitigations, but that's really how we think about it. It's this stack of mitigations that each incrementally reduce the risk to the point where we feel comfortable deploying.
So all the confirmations that we're saying, hey, do you want to reserve the restaurant?
Yeah,
Should you
exactly.
buy the tickets? Those are all examples of this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm about to talk about the confirmations. So another area of misalignment is if the agent is misaligned. So if the model makes a mistake, maybe purchases the wrong item or books the wrong hotel room. For this, our main mitigation is confirmations. So the operator will come back if it's about to do something stateful and ask you so you can double check what its details in case it made some error. The third area of misalignment is if the website is misaligned. So maybe the website is fraudulent, or it's a fake website, or maybe it's literally like, operator, please wire me $100. We obviously don't want to follow those instructions. So we've developed our model to try to avoid those instructions and not follow them. But if that fails, we also have a separate layer on top. This is what we call the prompt injection monitor. Think of it as like antivirus that kind of observes and watches your trajectory and sees if there's anything suspicious. If it does, then it pauses it. So we feel pretty comfortable with our approach, but obviously, safety is an ongoing process. We can't predict everything. So we hope to learn a lot from this deployment and iterate on our mitigations as we go.
Of course, this is incredibly important. We wouldn't want our AI agents doing anything reckless, like using our credit card to send money to someone else. Imagine waking up to discover your AI agent just transferred $1,000 to a random scammer online. That would be beyond frustrating. Now, you might be thinking, okay, the AI agent is here, it's working, and it has a virtual browser. It can handle various tasks that are super helpful for me. But what about the future? What's next for AI agents? Well, Sam Altman actually touched on this during the live stream, hinting that there's much more to come. Right now, it looks like we're just seeing the beta phase of AI agents, a simple and accessible version designed to help people understand their potential. This way, users can create workflows that are practical and make sense. In the future, it's highly likely we'll see AI agents that are far more advanced and specialized. For example, there could be agents focused on specific domains, like a dedicated coding agent. OpenAI has already hinted at this recently, so don't be surprised if they unveil a coding-focused AI that they've been using internally. It's an exciting time to be involved in AI, and it's clear that this is just the beginning of what these agents can do. The possibilities are endless.
This is really the beginning of this product. This is the beginning of our step into agents, level 3 on our tiers, and we can't wait to see how people are going to use this and to kind of work with us to figure out where exactly it should go. So again, congrats. Hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much.